All right, guys, I'm back with another mail day video. This one's gonna be a little bit shorter today, only 5 cards. I do have some other stuff that's gonna be coming in the mail over from Europe, but I don't think it's gonna come in December. So we'll do the December mail day, and we'll start off with this Jimi Hendrix. So this is a concert postcard. Now, it was not super common, but some of the different concerts in the past did have postcards. There's a ton of reproductions out there and second or third printing, so you have to be very careful with these. Now, I don't know for sure because I'm not an expert on concert postcards, but I think this one's an original one, and there's a few reasons why. The first thing that I noticed on this one was the aging. Now, I've been around cards my entire life. This looks like an older card, just based off of the stock and also the feel of this. The other thing that I noticed too right away is the smell. It smells straight like vintage cardboard, like you smell 50s, 60s cards. You have that distinct smell. This one does as well. So it's possible this one could have been printed after the concert, still possibly 60s or early 70s. But I would assume that this was a concert postcard. The other thing, like, it does look in great shape with this one. There's a few things to look at. So just to show you, there is a pinhole on here. I think there's a mark or a pinhole. I think, no, that was the only pinhole right there. There's just a mark on here, but we can take a look at it. So it says published by Splash Posters and Cards, Manchester, England. Printed right over here. X079. And then here is that over here. So January 15th, 1969. And then it says published by Splash, Manchester, England, over there. That's, I know it's super small. It's probably a little blurry on the video, and has a little bit of a raised corner over here. Kind of an interesting image. Oh, there's the other. Yeah, that's the other pinhole I noticed originally. So one right there, one right there. So if this ever got graded, which I don't even know if I could get these graded. No, baseball postcards do get graded. Non-sports is its own beast. Sometimes you see boxing postcards. I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I don't run a grading company, but I think it should be standardized across the board. If baseball postcards can get graded, any type. But I've also seen Disney stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try to get this graded one day. Either way, that's a Hendrix that goes into my music PC. Never saw this one before, so I picked that one up. All right, another historical figure. Well, I guess it's a different type of realm. Another type of artist. We have a Renoir over here. Now, I believe this was issued shortly after his death. But very famous painter, I believe, out of France. And this is a 3rd series Felix Potin. Now, Felix Potin cards are interesting. I feel like the 1900 issue, which is the first Felix Potins, they're extremely common. Okay, not extremely common, but like in terms of non-sports cards, they're kind of common. Like you'll find the specific subject matter that you want within a few months. There's a lot of them out there still. After that, I would say the 2nd series, which is going to be 1908. I think the 4th series from 1952, and then probably 1922 is the hardest. For some reason, I don't know why, but 1922 Felix Potin, I think, is the hardest, followed by 52. I've had a few 52 albums. I've never had a 1922 album, although I've had a page. With that being said, pretty nice looking card. They're all black bordered. You do find them in a little bit nicer shape, but that's what this one looks like over here. Very famous painter. And again, another historical figure. I think this is his only card. Could be completely wrong. An only card, I mean like around living age. So anything earlier than this, or like probably 1920s. I'm sure there's been other cards in like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or even 2000s. But that is this one. And just, they're the plain back cards. All right. Now we're on to 3 slabs. So I'm going to go like least interesting to most interesting. And up first, we have an 1888 Duke's Sons N76 Thomas Edison Great Americans. So I actually picked this one up on Facebook, a collector I bought from quite a few times over there. And He knew that I was going after N76s and also Thomas Edison cards. I've talked about it on channel a few times. But my degree I went for in college was electrical engineering. I don't use electrical engineering now. I'm in data science. So different realm, but very complex math at times. With that being said, though, I still appreciate electrical engineering and Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, different things like that out there. I mean, I collect a lot of inventor cards, and I think that goes from the side of things of having that background and loving math and science. But pretty good looking too. Corner is very sharp. Now it does have some paper loss over here, and obviously the centering is to be desired, but I will try to upgrade this over time. But this was the last bigger Thomas Edison card I did not have. I also, at the same time, picked up from Australia the Sydney Ogden, and that's not in yet. And the Sydney Ogden looks like his normal Ogden, but has Sydney printed on the back. I equate the Sydney Ogdens to kind of like the Venezuela cards of Ogdens. They're much tougher to find. Obviously, Australia versus the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom print runs were much higher and had multiple series where Edison was in it versus just that one Sydney run. But there's other people in that set as well. I'm not going to dive too much into that set specifically, but that was the other Edison I was missing. And I somehow acquired both the same week, which is pretty cool to see. As well as another Edison, which I'll show you in a second, which I wanted for years and never had the opportunity to purchase it until it went to auction. But you might know which one I'm talking about. We'll go over that one last. But there's that one over there. Maybe I'll just throw this in the background so you guys can see that. And maybe we'll throw in one more. I don't think Hendrix will stay, but there. All right. Now the background looks a little bit better. So our next card over here, Albert Einstein. Took quite a lot of physics classes. So this one's a 2.5, and the reason for it being a 2.5 is this crease that goes right through there. You can see it's a pretty deep crease on it. It actually looks worse on video than it does in person, which is kind of funny. It actually looks really nice in person. And like you can see this over there. But pretty sharp corners, right? It has good eye appeal. And I've wanted this card. I need to upgrade. There's still a lot of 6s and 7s and stuff like that. But this is a little bit of a tougher issue out of Europe. I've talked to a few different dealers that have had Men of Genius cards before, including this Einstein. But how UK works is a little bit different than here in the States. There's a lot more set collectors, so a lot of people don't break them up. They just collect the entire set. So finding singles can be tough sometimes, but Einstein is by far the biggest name within the set. They do have some other larger names in there. I don't really have too much interest in collecting them. There is a pretty cool Abraham Lincoln in there. There's also Edison in there too. So I think also Ben Franklin is in there, but Einstein was the only one that I wanted. And the other thing I've seen with these two, there's a lot of them that have the stars on the back, and I just don't know if it's a dealer stamp or if it was from the manufacturer. But yeah, this was a really awesome card that I have wanted, and super glad to grab that one. All right, and the number one card from this Mailday, and this is a huge PC card. I mean, all of these are going to be PC until I upgrade them over time, but this one's the highest graded, and it is the 1888 SF Hess Thomas Edison. So these are very scarce. Like, they barely sell. I think the pop report on these is 3, and I know the other 2 owners, as funny as it is. One of them is Enough Said Cards here on YouTube, and there's another collector that's in Facebook that I've talked to before. Tried to get his Thomas Edison, but would not budge. One of the most insane non-sports collections I've ever seen, and boxing. So I'll just tell you that. With that being said, it's either Edison's toughest card to find or tied with his toughest. So the other set that I'm building, the Lone Jack Inventors, I think the Edison's a pop 3 or pop 4. Now, I like the image on the Lone Jack Inventors a lot more. I think the Lone Jack Inventors is a more desirable card than the SFS over here. But was a very tough one to find, and they just don't come up to auction that often. Now, it's an old label. This would not get a 3 today. This is probably a 2. But let's take a look at this a little bit closer. It's just a really awesome card. And like there's a huge indent here on the back. But it's kind of good luck finding that side of things. And has other stuff minus just Thomas Edison. There's baseball players, there's other non-sports historical figures, and there's also boxers. But across the board, very tough to find. And yeah, so some really awesome grabs. And the funny thing is I wanted to stop buying cards for a little bit from my collection. I say that like, I meant like big cards. I always buy smaller cards and stuff like that and try to upgrade some of the cards with my collection, which I do have some upgrades coming soon. But that was the Mailday. The other upgrade, which I have coming soon, I'll tell you guys about, is I upgraded my Kousis Ben Franklin. And Kousis cards were issued in Malta. They look also very similar to Ogden cards. They are much tougher to find. And luckily, I was able to run into an upgrade. One of the dealers I bought from in the UK and have done a lot of deals for was able to pick up a Kousis lot. And there's a lot of subject matters that I'm still looking for in Kousis. I'm trying to build out. So if you have any Kousis cards, let me know. But I think we're going to end this video here. I don't know how this turned out to be 12 minutes, but it's always fun talking about rare non-sports cards or just cards in general. Like I said, I'm also going to continue to try to get more videos out. I've been really busy with a project that I've been working on that's going to have an impact with niche cards, non-sports cards, and even sports cards, but can't talk about it yet. This thing is still under development, and once it is done, I'll make some announcements and show you guys all this hard work that's being done. Anyways, I'll see you guys in another video.